From bankruptcy to $2 billion in 3 seconds, this cleaner's incredible life-changing impact revealed. Max had never imagined his life could change so drastically, but when a single moment caught on camera transformed him into an internet sensation, it felt as if he had leapt from the depths of despair into the dizzying heights of opportunity. The video showed him cleaning a church basement, knee-deep in muck, tears pouring from his eyes as he worked tirelessly for neighbors devastated by a local tragedy. "This isn't just cleaning," he muttered, emotions raw. "This is community." His small home on the outskirts of Philadelphia had become a shrine of faded memories, with pictures of his happy family adorning the walls. Memories of laughter now haunted him in silence. Lily, his bright-eyed daughter bursting with dreams of brighter days, filtered that pain with innocent curiosity. She believed in her father's strength, but Max felt the weight of judgment from the world outside. Each whisper from the neighbors sent tendrils of shame entwining his heart. A factory job lost. Bankruptcy declared. And now, a cleaning service he had reluctantly started to keep his family afloat. Every evening, as Max sat with Lily, they would invent stories about dragons restoring life to a barren land while reality closed in around them. What would he tell her if the whispers reached her ears? "Daddy's just a cleaner," she would hear, as if that title defined his worth. But he was so much more than that. Yet, when he turned to his father's empty chair during dinner, he felt that haunting thread of legacy slip away. His father's battle with PTSD had created a chasm painfully vast. Max ached for reconciliation, yet the cycle of hurt wrapped around them like chains. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Suddenly, Max was an overnight hero, caught in a whirlwind of fame and film crews circling like vultures, hungry for his story. He knew, deep down, the world praised him for his services without understanding the burdens he bore. Am I just a trend? He wondered. His phone buzzed relentlessly, a flashing beacon of opportunities that could pull him away from the muck. But at what cost? Would he compromise his values for money, fame, or worse, leave Lily behind chasing the bright lights? The weight of familial expectations seized Max when his estranged father surfaced, dragging old memories and unhealed wounds from the shadows. Conversations twisted, laced with resentment and unvoiced fears, leaving Max reeling. This was no longer about just him, it was about legacy. Choices loomed heavy in the air, dark embodied specters challenging him to define success. As midnight approached, Max stood in front of the bathroom mirror, his reflection blurred by unshed tears. He approached a moment of reckoning, whispers of hope and despair resonated within. Just as he met those tear-streaked eyes staring back, a loud knock shattered the silence, drawing him out of himself. His heart raced as he stood frozen, caught between the expectations of success and the love of a son for his father. Max's heart pounded in his chest, a wild drum beat drowning out the echoes of his troubled thoughts. He took a deep breath, steadying himself before moving toward the door. Who could it be at this hour? Anxiety gripped him, twisting and pulling as he reached for the handle. With a hesitant swing, the door opened to reveal his father, illuminated by the porch light, a silhouette of vulnerability and determination. The years melted away in that moment, replaced by a broken bond that could no longer be ignored. Max's breath hitched. He saw the lines etched into his father's face, a visible map of pain, regret, and perhaps the faintest flicker of hope. "Dad," Max found his voice, shaky and unfamiliar. "Can we talk?" His father's tone was low, edged with raw sincerity. Max stepped aside and let him in, his mind racing with memories of shared laughter, heated arguments, and the bitter silence that followed. As his father crossed the threshold, the air felt heavy, thick with unspoken words that hovered between them. they sat down on the worn-out couch, silence wrapping around them like a familiar blanket. Outside, the world continued to bustle, but inside, the tension was palpable, a tightrope stretched between resentment and longing. "I saw the video," his father began, eyes darting to the family photographs hanging on the wall. You've become quite the hero." Hero. The word tasted bitter on Max's tongue. Inside he felt like a fraud, a man just trying to scrape by. "Yeah," Max replied, his voice a mere whisper. "It's complicated." "Complicated," his father echoed, shaking his head. "You know, I wish things were different." The conversation hung, heavy with potential. Max felt the weight of all the time lost, the years filled with anger and silence. "So do I," he admitted, his voice trembling. "But what do we do now?" "I don't know," his father sighed, burying his face in his hands. "I've made so many mistakes. I wanted to come back, to be there for you and Lily. But I kept pushing myself away. I didn't know how to face you." Max's heart ached. He remembered the days when his father was the rock of their family, steadfast and strong. Those days felt like they belonged to someone else. "I'm scared, Dad. Scared of what success means. Scared I'll let you down again." His father looked up, tears shimmering in his eyes. "You already have so much more than I ever dreamed for you. You've shown resilience, something I struggled to find. But know this, you're not alone in this. We can fight the shadows together." Max glanced away, heart stirring with mixed emotions. He could feel the past and future colliding around him, like an unsteady balance beam, swaying perilously. "Together?" he asked, uncertainty spilling from his lips. "Yes," his father said, voice steady. "We need each other to heal and rebuild." Tears caught in Max's throat. The thought of starting anew felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Could they really bridge the gap? Could he stand strong against the fame and the complex expectations of being a cleaner-turned-hero? Then, the buzz of notifications chimed from his phone, intrusive and loud. It was another request, another interview offer. He glanced at it fleetingly before putting the phone aside, focusing back on the moment before him. The silence that followed was filled with unspoken intentions, hope beginning to take root where despair had festered too long. In that small living room, two weary souls faced each other, hearts laid bare. But just as Max felt the flicker of possibility, an idea struck him. What if embracing his father's presence led not only to healing but to something greater? What if they turned this moment into a movement? Packed with newfound determination, he opened his mouth to speak, excitement bubbling within. "Dad, what if we did something together? Something that could rebuild our legacy?" And the doorbell rang again, cutting through Max's thoughts. They both jumped, surprise painting their expressions. "Who could that be?" his father asked, eyebrows furrowing. Max's gut twisted. "I don't know, but I have a feeling. This could change everything." He stood up, his heart racing once more. The moment waited just beyond the door, a new chapter simmering at the edges of their reunion. Would this be the next step in their journey? Or would it pull them back into the chaos they had fought so hard to escape? With one last glance at his father, Max opened the door, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Standing at the threshold, Max felt a surge of adrenaline. The unexpected visitor was a reminder of the world outside, fast, demanding, and often uncomfortable. But stepping outside would mean leaving behind this fragile moment with his father, that flicker of hope igniting in the darkness. He swung the door wide open, revealing a young woman, breathless and wide-eyed, holding a microphone and a camera. Her hair was a cascade of curls, wild and untamed, much like the urgency in her demeanor. "Max Reynolds? We need to talk." Max stared at her in disbelief. "What? Who are you?" "I'm Emily. I work with City News. Your story has gone viral. Everyone wants to know about your heroics." The cleanup challenge is trending, and you have a chance to inspire so many. Can we get a quick quote? Words lodged in Max's throat. Part of him felt overwhelmed. This was his life they were talking about. But another part of him was lifted by the mention of inspiration, the thought that he could share something valuable. He glanced back at his father, who wore a mix of pride and caution on his face. "Can we?" his father began, but Max interrupted. "Hold on a second, Emily." He stepped back into the living room, still holding the door open, the stranger's energy crashing into the dense air between him and his dad. "What do we do?" Max asked his father, who looked as if he were caught in the crossfire of the past and present. "You have to do what feels right for you, Max," his father replied, his voice steady but tinged with concern. "If you want to share your story, it might help more than just you." Max nodded slowly. He had already felt the weight of his transformation, but sharing it felt like stepping onto a stage with all eyes on him. The idea was intoxicating. "All right, let us do it," he said, stepping back through the door. As he faced Emily again, adrenaline coursing through his veins, her enthusiasm seemed to radiate like sunlight breaking through a stormy sky. "Great. What do you want to say?" she asked, already poised with her camera, ready to capture this pivotal moment. "It's complicated," Max started, hesitating as he thought about the years of turmoil, the journey of self-discovery, and the bond he hoped to rekindle with his father. "But it doesn't have to be. We can change our narratives. We can turn pain into purpose and loss into something meaningful." Emily's eyes sparkled with interest. Yes. That's powerful." Max felt the trembling in his voice fade away as he continued. "I was just a cleaner. I was scared and unsure. And then life threw me a chance to change, to fight against the odds." He glanced at his father, who smiled softly, pride shining in his eyes. "I didn't do it alone. I learned that healing often means leaning on each other." As he spoke, Max could sense something shifting not just within himself, but between him and his father, too. It felt like the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with potential and hope. "Wonderful. What's next for you?" Emily prompted, leaning forward, eager to capture this illuminating moment. Max took a deep breath, envisioning not just the interview but the future they could create. "We're thinking about making a community initiative. An outreach program for those struggling, to help them find a way out together," he declared, feeling a newfound clarity. As he finished, the doorframe felt like a bridge between the past and the future. Max and his father shared a meaningful glance, each recalling years of longing and hurt. But now the air thrummed with possibility. "Let me ask," Emily interjected with a glint of intrigue. "What sparked this desire for change? Why now?" Max's mind raced back to the silence that had once swallowed their relationship and the loud void it had created in their lives. "Because if we don't act now, we could lose so much more," he answered, the urgency echoing in his heart. The moment hung in the air, and he felt the resolve settle in. This was just the start, and they were ready to embrace it together. Yet as he stepped away, something nagged at him. Would the light they found in their connection be enough to weather the storm that success brought? Would it hold when the challenges reared their heads, and the struggles of their past threatened to resurface? Max felt a shiver run down his spine. They were on the brink of something monumental, but what lay ahead was still cloaked in uncertainty. With those questions swirling in his mind, he turned to the camera, heart racing again. "We're just getting started." The sound of his own voice echoed in the room, an invitation to the next chapter of their lives, but what awaited them on that path remained uncertain. Emily's excitement practically jumped off the screen. "That's it, Max. The world needs to hear this. Let us capture the moment, let us make it real." Max's heart raced, not just from the camera aimed at him but from the weight of the moment, the potential to change lives. He took a deep breath and exhaled slowly, collecting his thoughts. "I just want people to know that change is possible. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you want to go. Perfect, perfect. Emily exclaimed, leaning in closer, ready to film. Her passion was infectious. Max felt the shivers of anxiety swirl around him, but amidst that, a spark of determination ignited. Can we get a clip of my dad too? Max hesitated, glancing back at his father. The man's expression was caught somewhere between apprehension and pride. It was a look that spoke volumes, a past filled with shadows now inching toward the light. Emily brightened. Yes. Let us include him. This is a family story. Max smiled, seeing the opportunity for his dad to share in this journey. Dad, do you want to say something? He asked, his voice steady now. His father shifted, clearing his throat. I'm proud of Max. He's always had a big heart. It's hard to see him struggle over the years. But knowing he's ready to step forward, to make that connection with others, it fills me with so much hope. Max's heart swelled. That's exactly it. If we don't take our experiences and use them to uplift others, then what was it all for? Max could see tears welling in his father's eyes and felt his own emotions bubbling. This was more than just a public statement, it was a reconciliation, a reclaiming of their bond. Emily stepped back, capturing the moment. This is emotional. You're showing vulnerability. People need to see the real story behind the heroics. It's not just about me. Max felt the weight of his statement. We all have our battles. Mine just happened in the spotlight of a challenge, but we all fought to rise from something. The two exchanged glances again, unspoken words flowing between them. The past had been filled with silence, today, they were reclaiming their voices. Emily turned off the camera, assuredly smiling. What you both have just shared will resonate with so many. This is going to be life-changing. Max's mind raced as he thought about the possible impact they could have. He felt light, as though he was shedding years of burden. Let us not make this just a moment, he said, his voice resolute. Let us turn it into action. After the cameras were off, a moment of stillness enveloped them. Each one of them lost in thought, contemplating what lay ahead. What's next, Max? His father asked, his face softening. I want to get started on that outreach program, he replied, enthusiasm bubbling to the surface. But I can't do it alone. We have to do this as a team, as a family. Your experience, our story, it all matters. His father nodded slowly, a sign of acceptance and commitment. I'm in. With renewed purpose, they began discussing logistics, how to reach out to the community, how to share resources, how to spark hope in others facing similar struggles. As they mapped out their ideas, the doorbell rang again, startling their focus. Emily's eyes darted toward the door. More reporters? She joked, but something in Max's heart was uneasy. Better check, he said, a feeling of dread settling in. As he opened the door, a chill ran down his spine. A familiar face stood before him, one from the darkest days of his past. What do you want? Max demanded, heart pounding with anxiety. Well, let us see how this new Max is going to handle the storm that's coming, the figure smirked. With that, Max realized their journey was just beginning. The past had a way of clawing back, and now they had to brace themselves for whatever storm was on the horizon. Would the newfound connection with his father be enough to withstand it? Max stared at the figure before him, his heart thumping like a drum in his chest. A whirlwind of emotions surged through him: fear, anger, confusion. He couldn't believe this person had found him again. What do you mean by the storm? Max retorted, trying to mask the tremor in his voice. The figure leaned closer, their condescending smirk never fading. You've got everyone fooled, haven't you? Knew Max with all that hope. But you know, it doesn't take much for it to all come crashing down, does it? Max took a step back, clenching his fists. I'm not afraid of you. Not anymore. The figure chuckled darkly. Is that right? You've done a good job turning your life around. But when the truth comes out, let us just say, it won't take long before everything you've built comes tumbling down. With that, the figure turned and walked away, leaving Max standing in the doorway, breathless. His spirit wavered as doubt began to creep in. What truth? What had they meant? Max felt his stomach tighten. He closed the door slowly, his back against it, heart racing. Emily and his father were watching him closely, concern etched on their faces. Max, what happened? Emily asked, noticing the change in his demeanor. I don't know, he stammered, still trying to come to grips with the encounter. It was someone from my past. They threatened me, said they would expose something. His father moved closer, eyes narrowed. What did they mean? What could they possibly expose? Max shook his head, dread washing over him. I don't know. I've worked hard to move past everything. It's not just about me anymore. There's too much at stake. I can't let this ruin what we're trying to do. Emily placed a hand on his shoulder. We can handle this together. Whatever it is, you don't have to face it alone. We have your back. Taking a deep breath, Max tried to focus. Okay, you're right. It's just this is the moment I've waited for, and I can't let this person drag me back into darkness. As they settled back into their plans, a realization hit Max. This outreach program was more than just an initiative, it was a lifeline not just for him, but for anyone who had ever struggled. They couldn't give up now. Let us move forward with our ideas, he finally said, a fierce spark igniting within him. We need to shake things up. If they want to bring me down, I'll show them how strong I really am. We'll reach those who need us most. After a few hours of brainstorming and mapping out their program, a glimmer of hope flickered. Ideas flowed like fresh water. They discussed community meetings, mentoring, and the power of storytelling, their stories shining light into dark corners. It was cathartic, revitalizing, but deep down, the unease lingered. Would the truth really come to light? What would happen when the storm the figure spoke about actually arrived? As they finalized their plans, a message came through on Max's phone. The screen lit up with a notification, and his heart dropped as he read the words. It was a public post, a direct attack, announcing that their outreach program had ties to shady dealings in the past, a scandal, alluding to secrets Max thought he had buried. Max! Emily shouted, seeing his expression. What's wrong? He felt the walls begin to close in. This was just the beginning, and the stakes were higher than ever. Their dream was at risk of crashing down, just like the figure had warned. Max looked at his father and Emily. We need to act fast. We can't let this go unchecked. If we want to make a difference, we need to fight back before it's too late. As the weight of his past loomed overhead, Max realized one thing: this fight wouldn't just save him, it would define his journey. Would he be able to protect the future they envisioned? Or would shadows from the past threaten to engulf everything he had fought to build? Max's heart raced as he read the words on the screen again, each syllable cutting deeper than the last. The post claimed that their outreach program was under investigation due to dubious connections to Max's past, connections he thought were buried forever. Max, talk to us, Emily urged, her hand still resting reassuringly on his shoulder. His mind spun. I wish I could just, I don't know, disappear. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration pouring out of him. The plan they had built, the hope they were nurturing, it felt fragile now, as if it could shatter with a single wrong move. His father stepped forward, firm yet gentle. We won't let this break us. We'll handle it as a team. You've come too far to let this define you. Nodding, Max felt a flicker of strength amidst the turmoil. He looked at Emily, who met his gaze with unwavering support. You're right. But we need a strategy. We can't let this just happen to us. The three of them gathered around the table, papers and pens scattered like fallen leaves. They needed to act fast but also smart. Let's investigate who's behind the post, Max suggested. They can't take us down so easily. Social media can be twisted, Emily said. We could address it directly, maybe even put a positive spin on your past. Show how far you've come. Transparency could turn this around, his father added. You've always said honesty is powerful. Lean into that. Max felt hope ignite again. I could share my story, maybe even speak at community events. The more he thought about it, the more he realized it could shift the narrative. If people understand where I started, they'll see why this program matters. Hours turned into a blur as they drafted responses and combed the internet for the source of the post. Emails were sent, calls were made, but unease lingered. Each minute that passed felt like a haunting echo of the figure's warning. Then, just when it seemed they were ready to launch their counterattack, another notification pinged. This time it was a private message from a familiar username. Max hesitated but opened it, dread swelling inside him. Nice try, Max. Just wait until the next wave hits. This is just the beginning. His heart sank. A shadowy figure was watching from the sidelines, clearly prepared to strike again. Max felt anger surge through him, hot and defiant. They think they can scare me? I won't let them. Emily leaned in, eyes serious. Max, we need to prepare for anything. Let us not make any hasty decisions without assessing the risks. Risk? Max echoed, the fire in him calming just a bit. I can't afford to wait. People need this program. I need to fight for this and for me. As they delved deeper into their research, they began to uncover connections that linked the message to someone from Max's past. The figure wasn't just a ghost, they were a living thread of Max's story. A knot of anxiety twisted in his gut. What did they know about him? What had they managed to dig up that could destroy everything he had fought for? With a determined nod, Max looked around at the small circle of support. We're going to find out everything, even if it means diving into dark waters. He could feel the storm approaching, fierce and relentless. But this time, he wouldn't hide. He'd rise above. Let us show them what new Max is really made of. As he gathered his strength, a sudden thought pierced through the chaos. Was he ready to face everything that lay ahead? The truth and the shadows of his past loomed ever closer. The air thickened with expectation. What might this storm reveal? And would he be able to brave the truth that awaited him? Max sat at the worn table, fingers tapping nervously on the surface. The once comforting space now felt suffocating, filled with unspoken worries and a looming sense of urgency. The flicker of his phone screen interrupted the silence once more. Another notification. His heart pounded as he reached for it, half expecting another taunt. Instead, it was a group message from his outreach team. Meeting in 10. We need to strategize, it read. He glanced at Emily and his father, who exchanged glances of understanding. Looks like we're on, Emily said, her voice steady. Let us get ahead of this. Max took a deep breath. He couldn't let fear dictate his next move. Right. We'll figure this out together. As they arrived at the community center, the walls plastered with bright murals of unity, Max's heart beat less frantically. He could almost taste the support in the air. Faces turned toward him, some familiar, some new, but all filled with expectation. Okay, everyone, he began, standing taller, his voice breaking through the noise. I know you've heard the rumors. It's time we confront them head-on. The room fell into a tense silence. He could feel their eyes, questioning and curious. I've made mistakes. We all have. My past isn't perfect, but it's shaped who I am today. And I believe in what we're doing. Let us address those rumors immediately, suggested Mark, a longtime volunteer. If we hit back fast, they'll see we're not afraid. Absolutely, Emily chimed in. We need to highlight how the program has changed lives. No one can argue with our impact. As they brainstormed, ideas bounced around like fireworks. They decided to host an event, a community gathering designed to showcase their successes, share personal stories, and prove their narrative was one of resilience. It felt like a risky play, but sometimes taking a leap was the only way forward. Max's excitement grew, fueled by the support radiating from his team. Let us post about the event on all platforms. I'll share my story. Maybe even include testimonials from those we've helped. With newfound determination, they jotted down plans and assignments, the atmosphere buzzing with energy and hope. Optimism replaced the shadows that had lingered just hours before, but even as they wrapped up, a heavy weight settled in Max's chest. What if their efforts weren't enough? Would the shadow from his past succeed in shattering everything they had built? Hey, you okay? Emily's voice cut through his thoughts. Max forced a smile, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. Yeah, just thinking about what could go wrong. She squeezed his arm. We'll face it together, remember? As night fell, Max returned home, his head swirling with possibilities and anxieties. He tossed and turned, sleep eluding him. Images of his past haunted his mind like ghosts, whispers of mistakes he had thought he buried deep. Then, just as he started to drift off, his phone buzzed again. It was another message from the same username. Your little event won save you. Prepare for the truth. His heart raced, pounding like a drum against his ribcage. This person knew something he didn't, something that threatened to unravel everything he had fought for. Was he ready to uncover a truth that could destroy him? Max's resolve hardened. I will find out who you are, he whispered into the dark, bolstered by the thought of his community rallying together. With that thought burning in his chest, Max set his sights on the challenge ahead. He was done running. The storm was here, and it was time to face it head-on. But could he brave the storm and the truths hidden inside it? With each heartbeat, he felt the weight of doubt grow heavier. What skeletons were left in his closet, waiting to be unearthed? Morning light pierced through the window, casting beams onto Max's face. He squinted at the clock. It was later than he intended to wake up. Anxiety twisted in his stomach as he recalled the ominous text from the night before. He needed to gather himself before the day spiraled out of control. Max hopped out of bed and splashed cold water on his face. The chilly droplets were shocking, an immediate jolt to clear his mind. He couldn't afford another night of restless sleep. The community event loomed ahead, and he needed to be sharp, ready to stand firm amidst the whispers that threatened to drown out their message of hope. After a quick breakfast, he fired off a message to his team. Let us meet before the event to finalize everything. I want us all on the same page. The replies came in fast, each one a reminder of the strength they found in unity. As he drove to the community center, the streets buzzed with life, kids laughing, parents chatting, neighbors waving. It felt like a tapestry of resilience, stitched together by shared stories and dreams. Still, that nagging voice whispered in the back of Max's mind. What if the threads unravel when faced with the truth lurking just beyond their reach? At the center, he found his team huddled around a table, papers strewn out like maps of the future they were trying to carve out. Hey! We've been waiting for you, Emily said, her eyes lighting up when she saw him. We've made a few tweaks to the plan. Max nodded, encouraging the vibe. All good ideas, I hope. Absolutely. I'm ready to smash this event out of the park, Mark said. The determination in his voice fanned the fire inside Max. They spent the next hour going over logistics, ensuring every detail was perfect: the speakers, the food, and the testimonials that would resonate. As Max listened to their ideas, he felt the weight of his past slowly lifting, allowing space for hope and bravery. But beneath it all, fear crawled back in. Halfway through outlining responsibilities, Emily paused, glancing at him with concern. You all right? You seem a little off. Max took a deep breath, deciding honesty was better than hiding behind a facade. I got a strange message last night. Someone knows something, something that could hurt us. I can't shake it off. The room fell silent, everyone's eyes on him. We can't let that stop us, Emily said firmly. Whatever it is, let us confront it head-on, together. The word struck a chord in Max. He had to face his fears, not let them dictate how he lived. Suddenly, the door swung open, and a group of community members walked in, each face echoing the trust they had placed in Max and his team. Their presence reignited the spark of purpose in him. Hey! He called out, waving them over. We were just discussing our upcoming event, and we need your input. As he interacted with the group, sharing ideas and laughter, a sense of solidarity filled the room. They rallied together, determined to show the world that their community was more than its challenges. Just as the atmosphere lifted, a notification pinged on Max's phone. Glancing at it, his stomach dropped. Another message from that same username. Heart racing, he opened it. Tonight, the truth will come out. Brace yourself. Max's breath caught, but he steeled himself. No more hiding. Together, we can do this, he told the people around him, the fire in his voice igniting theirs. As they rallied around a vision of their event being a platform for truth and transformation, Max felt himself stepping closer to the edge of the storm. And he was ready to jump. But as they closed out their meeting, Max couldn't shake the feeling that the storm was more than just words. It was now a countdown to a confrontation he didn't fully understand. Would he really be ready when the truth finally surfaced? Max's heart raced as he took a moment to process the message. Tonight, the truth will come out. He looked around at the faces of his team, their expressions a mix of anticipation and concern. Underneath their collective enthusiasm, he sensed an undercurrent of fear. It was a tidal wave waiting to crash. All right everyone, Max said, trying to sound confident. Let us focus on what we can control. Tonight is about our community and the positive change that we're pushing for. He could almost hear the distant sound of sirens blaring inside him, but he pressed on. As more community members arrived, he felt a comforting warmth spreading through the room. Each interaction turned into new possibilities, hopes shared, dreams expressed, and plans made. They were savoring every small moment, each laugh and smile blending into a chorus of solidarity. Emily stood up and clinked her glass to gain everyone's attention. Can I have your eyes for a moment? She waited until the chatter subsided. While we may have fears lurking in the shadows, we are more than that. We are a community that stands together. Max's heart swelled at her words. He remembered why he was here in the first place, a community bound by love and hope, resilient against any tide that came their way. Their mission felt almost sacred. After a round of cheers, Max glanced at the clock. Time was slipping away. Let us break into smaller groups and finalize everything for tonight. Make sure to double-check your tasks, he urged. As the team broke apart, Max retreated to the corner, pulling out his phone again, staring at that ominous message. What truth awaited? Would it unravel all they had worked for? The event started to come together. Banners hung brightly, tables were set with care, and chairs aligned meticulously in rows. Everything looked seamless, yet a storm brewed in his heart. Around him, laughter rang out as volunteers joked and prepped, the community finally coming to life. Yet with each joyful moment, a shadow loomed, a shadow that made him question his every thought. His phone buzzed again, this time vibrating against the table as if alive. He flinched at the familiarity of that username. He hesitated, anxiety creeping back in. What should he do? Would opening that message put everything at risk? Gathering his thoughts, Max leaned against the wall, his eyes scanning the laughter and warmth flourishing around him. It was impossible to ignore the feeling of hope swirling amid the fear. In this moment, he made a choice. Max took a deep breath, steadied his heart, and hit open. The screen illuminated a plan, familiar yet sinister. I know what you're doing tonight, Max. The truth will be revealed. People will see. Panic gripped him. Could what was about to unfold tonight truly change everything? That feeling of dread clashed against the determination simmering within him. He had to focus on the event. He had to believe. The crowd began to gather, and Max knew this was it. He stood on the precipice of something profound, the air thick with anticipation. He felt the pulse of their collective energy, stronger than fear, stronger than doubt. He called out, "Everyone, this is our moment to shine. Let us show the world our strength and resilience." Applause erupted, echoing off the walls, but inside him, uncertainty still tugged. Max took one last glance at his phone, then steeled his resolve. As the event began, he held on to that flicker of hope, praying it would be enough. But would it all fall apart before his very eyes? With that unsettling question hanging in the air, he stepped into the spotlight, ready to face whatever awaited him. Max stood at the front of the bustling community center, feeling the warmth of hope wrap around him like a comforting blanket. His heart raced as he surveyed the crowd, a sea of familiar faces illuminated with anticipation. This was their moment, a chance to rally together, to shine amidst the shadows of doubt. He cleared his throat, stepping up to the microphone. "Thank you all for being here tonight." The room erupted in applause, a symphony of support that made Max's spirits soar. He paused, drinking in the love and energy surrounding him. "You've all shown me what it means to be a community. This event is more than just a gathering, it's a testament to our resilience." As he spoke, his thoughts drifted back to the ominous messages, the whispers echoing in his mind. But here, in this moment, he felt fortified. Tonight, we're not just talking about change. We're living it. Together, we're starting an outreach program to support our neighbors in need, to uplift each other. The crowd cheered, and Max felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. He caught Emily's eye, her encouraging smile reminding him they had chosen the right path. Despite the looming storm, they were bringing light to their community. He continued speaking, sharing stories of transformation, stories that resonated and connected everyone in the room, the power of overcoming challenges, the importance of standing together. But as the applause died down, his gut tightened at the thought of what came next. The truth that could shatter everything. "I know some of you might have heard rumors," he began hesitantly, and the room quieted. "Rumors that suggest our work comes from a place of darkness." He noticed the worried glances shared among the attendees. "But I want you to hear this, I'm not ashamed of my past. I've faced my demons, and it's those experiences that drive me to make a difference." With each word, he could feel the weight lifting, strength coursing through him. Changing our narrative isn't about pretending. It's about embracing our truths and using them as stepping stones to forge a brighter future. The audience erupted into thunderous applause, and tears stung his eyes. It felt liberating to say what had been buried for so long, but as the cheers echoed, a chill swept through him. His phone vibrated. He glanced down to see another message waiting. Mandrick's username glared up at him, and his heart raced. Ignoring it felt impossible, so he took a quick peek. "Tonight's just the beginning, Max. You'll see." Each word felt like a weight pressing tightly against his chest, that he shook it off. This night was about hope, not fear. As community members took turns sharing their stories of overcoming, each tale wove a tapestry of resilience. Max listened intently, the bond between them growing stronger. It was about connection, and the ripple effect of their support would reach far beyond this building. Then came the moment. A tap on his shoulder broke his reverie. It was Emily, her eyes shining with excitement and a hint of concern. "Max, people want to hear your story, your truth, the way you've turned it into action. Don't shy away from it." Taking a deep breath, he nodded, confidence building within him. As he prepared to share his deeper struggles, he felt not alone. "I want you to know this, everyone," he began as he stepped forward again, feeling the energy of the room. "I was scared. I was lost. I felt ashamed, feeling like all I would ever be was just a cleaner." He could feel the weight of judgment and past whispers wrapping around him, but his voice steadied. But it was in those darkest moments that I discovered my strength. I discovered the power we have when we face our hardships together. A supportive murmur rolled through the crowd, and Max knew they were with him. Each one of you has a story worth telling. And tonight isn't just about me, it's about all of us rising up to create a legacy filled with positivity, hope, and support. Before he could finish, his phone buzzed one last time, louder, insistent. It felt like the world around him faded momentarily as he read the message. You can't run from the past, Max. It's time for everyone to know. A consuming wave of dread seeped in, but Max gripped the microphone tighter. He wouldn't fall. The room pulsed with energy, a collective heartbeat thriving in faith and hope. He turned back to the audience, and as he spoke, something remarkable unfolded, a wave of solidarity, a shared understanding. I am not ashamed of where I've come from, he declared, voice stronger now. And I refuse to be pulled down by threats or anyone who doubts us. With those words, the air brightened, laughter erupted, and cheers filled the room like a victorious anthem. Soon after, the event transformed not just into a gathering, but a movement, rooted in compassion and community service. They exchanged numbers, formed small discussion groups, and planned future meetups for support, healing, and initiative. As the night drew to a close, Max stood among a cluster of his newfound friends, feeling the joy of connection wrapping around him. For the first time, he truly understood what community meant, standing together through thick and thin. The storm outside would pass, and through it all, together, they had tapped into something beautiful. They were no longer just stories filled with pain, they were tales of resilience and hope, tales ready to inspire change, and just as he was about to wrap things up, he felt a gentle hand on his shoulder. It was his father. I'm so proud of you, Max. This is only the beginning. Tears brimmed in Max's eyes as he embraced his father, feeling a rush of emotion echo through them. I couldn't have done this without you. In that moment, amidst the warmth and laughter, everything felt right, like home. And standing there, with Lily by his side, he realized he was ready for whatever came next. Because together, they were unstoppable. This was their story, their fight, and nothing could unravel the legacy they were building, one step at a time. Now that you've journeyed with us through this transformation, it's time to take action. You need to subscribe now to our channel to catch the next chapters of these incredible stories. Leave a like now to feed this algorithm and spread the message further. Comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending, we want to hear from you. And of course, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need a spark of inspiration and change in their lives. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of keeping this narrative alive.